Call to order the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustees meeting at 5:31 p.m. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dan Gaffney.
Here.
Michelle again absent. Dan Green.
Here.
Mary Hamburg absent. Sally Lamb. Here. Allison McFadden Keesling.
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Juliana here.
Okay. I'll accept a motion for approval of the agenda. So moved.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any comments, questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Call to the public. Do we have any members of the public who would like to speak?
Much as I am not used to speaking, simply put, I want to compliment the staff. I think they've done a marvelous job of trying to overcome the challenges created in the previous 10 years. And I think that they've made some great progress in that respect.
Excellent. Thank you. We do too. Marion?
Yes, it's been a while, so how are you? The Friends have been maybe not so obvious, but we've been doing some things throughout the summer to make our procedures throughout the year more effective and efficient, and that was just a lot of little tweaking that needed to be done. But now we're off and running. Our annual fall book sale will be taking place next week. Setup starts Friday, and then the Tuesday night will be the preview for the Friends membership, and then it's open to the public Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next week. We are also looking for people, both members of the Friends and non-members, because we do have a lot of non-members that love to come in and work the book sales. And this year we have a fantastic opportunity for this. The library now has a new piece of software called Sign Up Genius. It's making it much easier. And Tom also put out a call. He has a wide network that he sent out, and from that I've even had a couple people approach me and say they would like to work that, but they don't necessarily want to become friends. So if just this initiation for myself into Sign Up Genius, I think has been a wonderful purchase for our library, and I can see a lot of possibilities, and I'm sure Julie already has a lot of ideas how to use it in the future. And then in October will be our fall membership meeting, and some of you have shown up at the Friends membership meetings in the past, and I invite you all to come. And then we start working on our holiday book sale in December, so we will not be idle.
Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to open the public hearing on the millage rate. We're opening it at 5:36.
And just so that everyone is aware, due to the Headley Amendment, the district library millage rate of 1.25 that was approved by the voters in the library district on August 5th of 2014 will be rolled down to 1.2423. So that's the rate that is expected to be this year.
Okay, any questions or comments on that? If not, the public hearing will close at 5:37. We also tonight are having our public hearing on the 2016 budget, which has been posted for review by the public. That hearing opens at 5:37. Do we have any comments we'd like to make on that? We're going to cover this, a full review,
We'll have a full review, but this is the opportunity.
but this is the opportunity for people to ask questions or comment. And if there are none, we will close the public hearing at 5:38. Thank you. The consent agenda has several items on it tonight. Do I have a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda for this evening. Does anyone wish to remove any item? Okay, if not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is library statistics.
So before you, you have the August statistics and the year-to-date statistics. A few things from Mr. Bowman regarding our statistics. You can see now that June, July, and August are sitting next to each other, that July is still our busiest month of the year, closely followed by June and then by August. Just a couple of things to notice. Usage in August has been above average in the various areas. And we will expect, usually the first week or so of September is a little bit slower as people get used to their new school schedules, and then we start to ramp up and we'll just get busier and busier usually as we get to Thanksgiving, and then it slows down on Thanksgiving, and then we're a little bit slower in December. So that's just sort of an overview of where we're headed in terms of statistics, and we're tracking them in this method. It will be easy for us to see those kinds of trends.
Thank you. The next item is the library director's report.
The library staff has launched the new fall program schedule. The fall newsletter and a program brochure highlight a variety of opportunities for all ages, and I have put one of those at each of your spots. And there are some here for the public as well to pick up. Next item, the library logo committee has met to look at styles of some local designers and has narrowed the list to a few top choices. We've asked each to provide a quote to do the project. We will also post samples of the styles in the staff room and provide them to the library board so we can determine the right direction to follow. So this will be something that will be continuing over the next few months. Next, the library is celebrating National Library Card Sign-Up Month in September. The Charles M. Schultz Estate has granted permission to the American Library Association and libraries across the country to use a specially designed Peanuts graphic on cards and materials for this program. We've produced a special limited edition Peanuts library card for people signing up for a new library card in September. These cards are available while supplies last, and the staff do have little matching name tag as well. So just a little incentive to get some people to sign up for their new library card. Our head of technical services is proud to announce that the processing department has completed the project to recase and divide into categories the library's music collection. This has gone over the last several weeks. They've been working on this project. Their next undertaking will be the DVD collection. So they're very excited that they've gotten their project done. Building and grounds, ASI Incorporated, the contractor doing phase 1 of the library's parking lot reconstruction project, has postponed the start date of our project. I had a meeting with our engineer at HRC and 2 representatives from ASI on Thursday. We provided updated details about our needs in regards to timing, and they should be providing a specific timeline the next day or 2. At that point, we will engage our plan to update the public about the specifics of the project. It is still going to get done this fall. It's just their intention was to start on September 8th, and they've pushed us back. Our goal is to have it done by mid-October. So hopefully, and they are anticipating 10 to 15 days worth of work. Collaborations and projects. The library and Friends of the Library will have a tent at Art and Village in Depot Park on September 19th and 20th. The Friends are sponsoring a free Ed Emberley thumbprint art project for kids that they can make into a bookmark or turn into a button to wear. We will also be showing off samples of our altered book art competition. and we'll have supplies available for people interested in participating. We'll be available with this project on Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 6. And the library's tent is near the playground.
Handy.
It is
Good looking.
yeah, it is rather handy. Ryan Snyder of local Boy Scout Troop 199 has been working on an Eagle Scout project to build a puppet stage and new board book shelving for our library. He has completed the project and delivered the puppet stage and 2 shelving units along with 17 brand new puppets to use in the children's department. We would like to thank Ryan for his hard work and congratulate him as he receives his Eagle Scout Award. He did this entirely on his own. He raised all the money, coordinated the Boy Scouts to work on the project, did all of the finishing work, and it really is beautiful. So we're very excited.
Yes.
We're very excited. And then, last but certainly not least, the Friends of the Library Fall Book Sale will take place from Wednesday, September 23rd through Saturday, September 26th. Thousands of gently used items, and I do mean thousands, items carefully divided into categories will be on display in the library's meeting room. Book sales are the Friends' major fundraisers. Donations are accepted anytime the library is open, and sale preparation takes place year-round with approximately 800 volunteer hours going into each book sale. So this is a big deal, it's a big event, and we hope people will come out for it. And that's what I have for tonight.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, regular business. We have 4 items tonight, and number 1 is the review and approval of the 2016 budget. So let us deal with that first.
Okay. So, okay, so as part of the packet, we did include the budget and the narrative to the budget. The first thing I'd like to go over in the budget is the spreadsheet that has all of the lists of the line items. And I'm going to scroll to the bottom here so that we can see. We're going to look at 2016. This is the revenues, anticipated revenues for 2016. So in the narrative, it does talk about the revenue assumptions. The district-wide millage rate of 1.25 mils rolled back to 1.2423 by the Headley Amendment. We do anticipate state aid to libraries. It increased slightly in 2015. Penal fines increased significantly in 2015. Library fine and duplicating revenues is usually based on past amounts. We can't really predict how many people are going to bring back materials late and how many people are going to make photocopies and things like that. So that we just do based on historical numbers, and it's been holding pretty close, right around 20,000. So we have the millage rate multiplied out by the estimated property values at $1,827,738. There is a CIA tax capture that's only those properties in the Saffaro Corridor Improvement Authorities. State aid, we actually budgeted in at about 10,000. It comes in at about 17, but we never know what it's going to be. It has dropped as much as 40% in a year. So what we usually do is estimate conservatively, and if there's additional funds, that's good, but we don't like to have to make cuts partway through the year if that money does not come in as anticipated. And this one is a little bit difficult because we're on a January to December fiscal year, and the state is on an October to September fiscal year. So sometimes we don't know until the middle of the year what those numbers are going to look like. So we try to be conservative with that. Penal fines is similar. From 2006 to about 2012, the number dropped from year to year to year. The last 2 years it has gone up. This year it went up significantly. 2 years ago it was about 45,000. This year it went up to about 71,000. Now penal fines is something that a lot of people don't understand. It is written into the state's constitution that a portion of penal fines go to libraries. And that basically means that there's a fancy formula that goes county by county, and it's a small percentage of things like traffic tickets and court costs and things of that nature. So it has been as low as $35,000. It has been as much as $71,000. So it's another one of those. It's a little bit of a tough target, sort of like state aid. So we put that number in there based on recent years, I would say 45,000 is probably a safe estimate. I suspect it will probably be more than that if the last 2 years have been any indicator. But I don't want to estimate based on this year because it could be an anomaly. So, and as I said, fines and fees usually, historically, are right around this amount. Duplicating and photocopying, same kind of thing. Interest, we do estimate a little bit low. We're learning more about investing and doing better with that every year, so I do like to estimate that low. And then E-rate. E-rate is federal dollars. It's a grant from the federal government to help pay for the broadband internet that we provide for the public. It actually last year came in at about 5,500. I'm estimating it at about, or I'm sorry, 5,500 is coming in, I'm estimating it at 5,000. It is based on the number of students in our school district that are eligible for the supplemented lunch program, for the free lunch program. So the last several years, it's been about 5,000 to 5,500. So I'm estimating just a smidgen low, just to be on the safe side. So that brings us to 1,901,878. I'm going to scoot back up to the top of the list here. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about a little bit is the guiding principles in creating this 2016 budget. The restoration of library hours, the replacement of priority 1 items, the expanded programming for all ages, those were all the things we used in 2015. In 2016, we want to continue to prioritize and complete projects on the library's technology and capital improvements plan, assess the library's development using the Library of Michigan's Quality Services Audit Checklist, and work with the community to develop and institute a strategic plan. Employment cost assumptions used to prepare this budget include in January 16, the minimum wage will increase from $8.15 to $8.50 per hour, and we do know that healthcare premiums will increase 7.9% approximately. So those two things are worked into the budget. So significant changes that you'll see in the 2016 budget when compared to the 2015 budget. We're maintaining staffing to accommodate an increase in library services and usage. Staffing usually accounts for 50 to 65% of a library's budget. This staffing plan is intended to spread the workload of the expanded hours and services. So you can see we're pretty much holding steady from last year to this year. We do have this increase in health insurance costs, and basically we took this year's health insurance costs and we multiplied them by that 7.9%. It's an estimate, so we may end up having to do budget adjustments at the end of the year, or close to the end of the year. But we all know health insurance costs are going up. In audit fees, which is here at 807, we had a contract, a 3-year contract, so this is a known quantity, if that's how much our audit's going to cost this year. Let's see, in professional and contract services, this box right here, this did go up because we have funds in there for a civil engineer to work on phase 2 of the parking lot reconstruction project. In special events, we have lots of extra programs going on. The staff also uses supplemental money from the Friends of the Library, but we are increasing the kinds of programs and activities that are going on for the public. We're doing an increase in the printing and publishing for the library to be able to provide the marketing materials that we need in order to make sure people know what's going on at the library. We have increased our newsletter from a 4-page. This year it was a 6-page. Next year we're going up to an 8-page newsletter in order to accommodate that. We have a great deal working with the township, the Parks and Rec Department. That newsletter goes out 3 times a year in that magazine. So we have a fabulous deal, and we've talked to them and we've worked out the deal in order to be able to go up to 8 pages. But we do produce ones to go in-house. We do provide them online, and we have a number of handouts and other things that we're doing in order to promote what the library is up to. Let's see. We have a slight increase in bank fees. This is an estimate based on this year's numbers. So. Let's see, building insurance is staying about the same, electrical is staying about the same. Our utilities have been staying pretty stable, we're pleased about that. Building and grounds maintenance, we've been working on a lot of building projects. Our building obviously has had some, had some neglect over the course of the past several years, and so we've done a lot of minor repairs. One of the things we will be talking about shortly is the capital improvement plan. So we'll talk about where some specifics about where this additional money is anticipated to be going. Equipment maintenance is staying about the same. Conference and workshops staying about the same. Refunds and rebates is staying about the same. This is a really interesting line. Essentially what this is when people go to their board of review and appeal their tax rate, sometimes when they get an appeal, the county will reimburse them for that. And then the county contacts us and we reimburse the county for having reimbursed them for their taxes. So this is a sort of a moving target. We never know exactly how much is going to be reimbursed. This is the first year we've been completely out on our own. Before, the millage was held by the township and it was done through the township. So we didn't have really good data on the trends and how this was going. So we put in $20,000 this year. Based on this year's numbers thus far, this is probably an overestimate. But I don't know what's going to happen between now and the end of the year. So we're sort of holding tight with that number this year, just to be on the safe side. Building, this is a great big number. That is phase 2 of the parking lot. That's all that is. It's huge, but that's what it is. So phase 1 of the parking lot, just to go over this so the public knows what we're up to, from the driveway, or from the street, the driveway, all the way to the end of the parking lot. That's what we're doing this year. That is the place where we're having a drainage issue, and it is sort of pothole central out there. Part of the reason is because there are 2 storm drains there, and they are not well. So we're going to replace those 2 storm drains. That should solve the drainage issue. Phase 2 of the project will be the driveway that goes around the island and all of the concrete work in front of the building. And then phase 3 will be the flat part of the building and that final little storm drain that's back in the back corner. That storm drain is actually pretty good, but it needs some repair as opposed to replacement. So we basically split the project into almost 3 equal pieces so that we can divide it up over the course of 3 years. And so you'll see there was a big chunk of money put in to 2015. That's phase 1, and this one is phase 2. Okay. Any questions on any of that so far? Mm-hmm. No? Okay, very good.
Very clear.
I'm sorry?
That's very clear.
Thank you. Okay. So then there is a significant reduction in the equipment budget, and that is because in 2015, the technology plan had a very large project to take care of all priority 1 items, which was all the public computers and the servers, and that was a significant project. He has some smaller projects this year. This $10,000 budget is a what we usually call a replacement budget. As things break, he replaces them. When we get to the final, we'll do the capital improvement plan, then we'll do the technology plan, and then we'll talk about some additional projects that the staff is working on right now that we may come back to you and ask you to plug in as the year goes on. We didn't want to put them in the budget at this point because the estimates on the price are still too much up in the air. So I don't like to put things into the budget unless I can genuinely tell you what we think it's going to cost. So you'll notice this is the total, the final total is 1.8 million approximately, and there's this difference. This is what I call undesignated revenue, and this is for, there are a number of projects that the board has been discussing that you sent me to get pricing on. We'll talk about those in the capital improvement plan and the technology plan, and that will be an opportunity for you to think about some things that we would want to add to 2016 that are not currently written in here. Okay, any questions about this part? Now that you've got an overview of it, all right. So the next thing to look at is the horizontal spreadsheet. It says 2015 at the top, and I will put it up on the screen so that everyone can see it. And it looks like this. This will look very familiar to the library board. We've been working on this for the last 2.5 years. Okay. So this is our capital improvement plan, and essentially what we have done is a full spreadsheet of everything building related, all the big ticket items that are building related. Not the technology-related ones, but all of the building ones. So we divided it up into various headings. We have site work, the concrete, the paving, the asphalt. That's been our top of the list. And you can see right here, the way we have this, I went to a workshop that's all about building capital improvements, and they give expected life for various things. I put the year in, that it was mostly, either it was installed or it was most recently in place. Its current age, which is basically just 2015 minus this year, so that you get the number of years that it's been there. And then our priorities. We've had several capital improvement meetings to talk about our priorities. And so obviously we knew that storm drainage, priority 1, concrete, asphalt, these are all priority 1s. These are all in the works over the course of the next 3 years. And as they get completed, these numbers will change, and then so will the ages. We have a couple of things that are still in the works. In terms of landscaping, we removed all of those bushes. The fire department wanted us to be able to do that. We have done that. We have a retaining wall out here that is in the works. They want, the company that we've hired to do that wants the driveway done first, so that will be, if all goes as planned, that will be done before the snow flies as well. That's the intention. So that would be added in. It's been added in as of 2015 because it is contracted to be done. We have talked on a couple of different occasions. I don't have this as a possible project, but I do have it still as a priority 1 to discuss how we want to go forward with this, is our fire suppression system. That's obviously the sprinkler system that's in the ceiling. Our fire suppression system is a dry system. That means that it is under air pressure and that the water only arms into the system if it senses that there's some sort of a fire incident within the library. So the little sprinkler heads sense that it is hot and it breaks the glass, and then there's a huge ka-chunk as the water is rushed into the system. And then the water only comes out of those sprinkler heads that have been activated. Since the system is under pressure, and has been under pressure since 1992, sometimes it gets condensation in it, and sometimes that creates teeny tiny little leaks. So every once in a while we'll hear hissing in the ceiling, which does not mean that we have been invaded by snakes. What it means is that our fire suppression system has sprung a leak, and we've had that happen 3 leaks in the last 2 years where we have to bring in the company. When that happens, we actually have to shut down the system. And once the system has been shut down, somebody needs to stay with the building because it's not fire protected if the system's not on. So until it can be fixed. And that's happened 3 times in the last 2 years. So it's just something to keep in mind. I don't think we're at critical mass on this yet, but it is something that could potentially, it is inspected every year, but it is a 23-year-old system. So it is something to definitely consider as being something to move to the top and start estimating how much it could cost to redo that. A lot of these items are what we would call priority 3, 1 being the most important, 2 meaning we should start to think about when we would be working on that, and 3 meaning it's either just been done or we still have a fair amount of time left on it. So I'm going to breeze through the 3s a little bit just to kind of move us along here. I don't want to go too fast in case people have questions. But I do want to hop down here to doors and windows. So one of the things that we have been talking about is we actually have 2 main doors to the library. We have the front doors, which are aluminum doors, and then we have our delivery room door, which is a big steel door in the back. And we've had some trouble with the front doors, and of course securing the building is very, very important. The steel door in the back, we've had a number of problems with over the course of time as well. So I have brought in 2 different door companies to take a look at it. The aluminum doors, the cost estimate, I was a little surprised by this because I'd already gotten the steel door estimate of being about $5,000 to $7,000. Then the aluminum door estimate came in at $25,000, and I thought, that's really interesting. But it is a more sophisticated locking mechanism. The back door is just a big old deadbolt. It does have the panic bars on the front door, which we don't have on the back door. So I think that could be part of it. And it is also a decorative door. Now these estimates are high intentionally because there are a number of ways to raise and lower the cost of these doors. For example, the steel door in the back is a really, really tall door. It's a standard delivery door, but then in the top there's a large steel panel. That steel panel, we think when the building was built, was supposed to be glass. But as we were building the building and budget became tight, they swapped it for steel instead of glass because the glass was more expensive than the steel. One of the things that does happen in that back room when the power goes out and late at night is that because it's a steel, there are no windows back there. So it does get very, very dark back there, and when there's a power outage, it is a little bit dangerous. And so his recommendation was that when we replace that door, we would replace it with glass instead of steel. However, there's wiggle room. If we wanted to cut the budget, we could put steel back in there. So anyway, so there's a bunch of different options that we could take, but he did give me high-end estimates, so we would at least, for budgetary purposes, have a realistic idea. So he wouldn't tell us it would be $4,000, and then we're shocked to find out that it's closer to $6,000 or something along those lines. So these are high-end estimates. Any questions about doors? Okay. Okay. The last item that I really wanted to talk about is something that we've been working on over the course of the last year, and that is the walkway lighting. Walkway lighting, specifically what we're referring to, is the lighting that's on the steps in the island. So one of the ways that we tried to improve that lighting was that we put in the walkway lighting shines down, which that directed lighting is supposed to be nice because it does maximize the amount of light. Where we were running into problems is that the walkway lighting was shining down to the steps, and the walkway lighting up by the main building was shining down on the walkway, but when you go to walk across the driveway is very dark. We had a lot of complaints about that and that there wasn't enough light shining on the steps themselves. So our first thought was, okay, well, let's put in a 360-degree lighting fixture, which we did, and that has improved things significantly. However, I have been visiting the library late in the evening in order to be able to see what it really looks like when it's dark out there, and it is maybe still not as bright as it could be. So a couple of things to keep in mind. We may want to add additional lighting. A couple of ways that we could do that. We could put 360-degree light fixtures on this side of the driveway, which we have not done yet. We could potentially add additional posts with lighting. The ideal time to do that, we may have to run additional electrical and conduit. That would be during phase 2 when we have to rip out the driveway. So these are all things that we want to think about in advance. We don't want to rip out the driveway and then decide we need to do that. So that's why I'm bringing this up, as we're trying to think ahead about what might need to happen. So those will be conversations we'll be having over the course of the next year to determine what the solution might be to that situation. Any questions on that? So it is in the works. I know there are people that are concerned. We are trying to figure out the best way to do this. Okay. Minimize that, and we will go on to the technology inventory. The technology inventory is the brainchild of Bill Bowman, who was our head of circulation and IT manager, or our IT mastermind, as I like to call him. So the first thing that we'll talk about is up here at the top, these 2015 items. Those are the servers that we just finished fixing and replacing. So they went from being priority 1 to being priority 3. Same thing with this new virtual server. In addition, we did all of the public computers. Whoops, sorry about that. Just do that. Which are these ones down at the bottom. You'll see that we've got lots of 2015s down here. Those all got replaced. And there's a little bit of a code here, just to clarify for people. Essentially, this lists every single computer that's in the building and then identifies where it is. So, well, we'll put it right here. This Dell Optiflex 760 says director. That's the one in my office. Actually, it was scheduled to be replaced in 2015, but it is not being replaced in 2015, so we're going to pull that one off the list. But just to kind of go up and down the list and let you know sort of when the various computers in the building are being done. What we're trying to create is a 3-year system where every year we're replacing about a third of the computers in order to keep them under warranty and keep them running smoothly for everyone. He has a couple of one items on here that lost my place here. Okay. He has a couple of items that he's concerned about. Item number one that he's concerned about are our self-check stations. Our self-check stations were installed in 2004, so they are 11 years old. That's pretty good, actually. And to be honest, they were actually, they are 3M, and we were a 3M beta test library. So essentially, they were mostly a gift. We did pay some for them, but not the standard market value for them because we were a testing library. We are still functioning off of those test systems. So it's probably time to consider putting in a real system and not just the test system that's in there. It's interesting, the security gate system that we have, that 3M did, when they put it in, it was a beta test library, and the 3M representatives, when they walk into our building, they walk in and they say, oh, you have a 3M magnetic system. And I said, no, that's not a magnetic system, that's RFID. And he said, oh yes, that's a 3M magnetic system. He said, you don't know what you have. I said, I absolutely know what we have. That is a magnetic system with an RFID guts to it. I said, you go take the panel off and come back and tell me if I know what I'm talking about. So he takes a screwdriver and goes, opens it, and he says, you're right. So it is actually, literally the engineers took the old system and they put in the new guts to it, but it's been like that since 2004. So it's held up pretty well, but we actually have a prototype in our building, so it's time to start talking about replacing some of those kinds of things. So the self-checks, as I said, have held up really well. We've bumped them to the top of the list because that is something something that the patrons use hands-on, and we want it to be smooth and working well. We do actually have a system in place now that when the early 5 classes come over. We have 5 classes of early 5 students that walk over from the administration building every Friday for story time. They come in 5 different little groups. They sit down and they have a story time, and then they select a book, and then they go to the self-checks themselves in order to check out those materials. So they are going through that whole process and learning how that system works, which is really a neat thing to see those little kids who can barely see over the top of it. Checking out their materials that way. They scan their library card, they check out their books, and then it goes into the teacher's bag. So we are looking at replacing that system. The other thing that Bill is concerned about are the security cameras. They are actually 2004. Some of them were actually put in 2003. That's maybe not as pressing as some of the other things that we have, but he did put that in as an item 1. We have replaced individual cameras, but not the system as a whole. And it is a digital system, and the server that it is housed on is a 2004 server, so that's a pretty long time for a server. So, I think those are the primary ones. Oh, and the phone system. That's a 1. We're not really looking at that in 2016. The phones ring. We are able to pick them up. We are able to help patrons. But we're still trying to decide exactly what we need in terms of a phone system. Where we are running into some issues is the intercom system that is attached to the phone system. But we're still evaluating that. So I don't know if you'll see that on 2016. I think you'll more likely see that on 2017. Any questions on any of those technology projects? So the last thing that I had the staff do, I have various staff members inspired to do various projects, and not everything. They're working on some development of some projects. The first one at the very top of the list are our self-checks. There are 2 of them. Taking into consideration that they were mostly free back in 2004 when we bought them. This sounds like a really high number, this $19,000, and it makes them about $10,000 a piece. But it will upgrade the system to the modern technology, upgrade the servers. We'll have less trouble with them, and they will probably last us quite a long time going forward, as we've gotten 11 years out of the last set. So, the point of sale system. This is something that our circulation computers were just recently upgraded, and one of the things that the public has wanted us to do is be able to take credit cards and debit cards as a form of payment. And what we have discovered is that we need to upgrade that system in order to be able to do that. So the computers themselves have been upgraded, but we need to have an upgrade in software and some of the other technologies up at the front desk. Those items had been put in, I believe, in 2008. So it's probably about time to look at those as well. Our business librarian is working on a redesign of our business area, which is that area there by the copy machine. She's estimating about $5,000 for that. Attached to that project is a document station. A library document station is a really interesting piece of equipment from Envisionware. Envisionware is a system that does all of our printer management and our copier management and that kind of thing. What it does is it basically is one-stop shopping. It will allow our patrons to scan, fax, and email anything that they could scan on the scanner. It is essentially a sit-down system where, for example, if you had old photos, you could sit down and scan them, and they would go right onto a flash drive or right into an email, and then it would send them off to wherever you need them sent to. This is a product that we think that if we put out there, if they're not printing, there would be no reason to charge for it, so people could sit down at the station and do these kinds of things for free. It's a nice investment in a service for people to use. We would like to put it in the business area because we think this would also be great for businesses because it will automatically fax as well, and because it uses an intranet line, we would not need to charge for people to be able to do that either. We currently, in terms of faxing, have an outside company that owns a fax machine, and while they charge for the faxes, we do get a small kickback from it, but primarily they're getting the majority of the money out of that. So this is something that you'll see a more sophisticated proposal, but this is something that's in the works that Bill, in charge of IT, and Melissa, in charge of business, are looking at. We are working on some shelving projects. Now, one thing to understand about the shelving in the library is that while there was some new shelving in 1992 when the building was built, and a little bit of new shelving when we did our space planning in 2008, most of the shelving in our building is original to the previous building from 1969, and quite a lot of the shelving that is in our building has been generously donated by other libraries. When they get new shelving, they donate their shelving to us. So we actually have never had a budget for shelving before, and we pretty much buy shelving on an as-needed basis. So there are actually a couple of shelving projects that Lawrence is bringing forward. We have a supply of extra shelves in the back. It is a very, very efficient shelf-by-shelf system. You can buy things a la carte and whatever, and I think he's done an excellent job estimating about $12,500 to be able to pull out some of the shelves that have rusted to the point of maybe being beyond their life expectancy, but then also doing some really nice things with the layout of the shelving in order to make it more efficient for patrons. He would like to do some back pieces, and this is behind the scenes. The public won't realize how much it's helping, but the staff will. Putting back pieces in between the two sets of shelving so the books don't fall down behind and get lost. I hear the librarians at the table sort of giggling. Yes, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it really is. Books get lost very easily that way. The other thing that he would like to do is purchase some tilted shelving for the lower shelves in order to make it easier for people to be able to.
So nice.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like a big deal until you go down those aisles and see how nice it is to see
Yeah, but when I
those.
walk down there looking for a particular book.
Yeah, he has a couple of areas in mind, and he wants to do a pilot project by doing it in a couple of areas and seeing how the patrons like it, and then maybe coming forward with a few more areas next year. But so that's his project that he's working on. We are recasing the DVD collection. That sounds like a lot. It is a huge chunk of money, it sounds like, but really that's when you take into consideration that we have a collection of DVDs that is in the range of about 15,000 items. It's really not. And the nice thing about these cases that we are switching them into is they are more secure, but they are also much, much sturdier. They will protect the product when they go into the book drop, which is much more convenient for the patrons and ensures that when they do put things in the book drop, that they're not having to worry about damage of any kind. So it's all about protecting the public's investments. A couple of other projects we've talked about space planning, both in the delivery room and in the computer lab. When we did our space planning in 2008, the only place we did not do was the storage area. And for those who have worked in the back area for the Friends, they do realize that we have some really, really tall mountains of boxes for the book sale and things like that. It is a great space. It could be more efficient, I think, and so we would like to do a little bit of efficiency work back there in order to maximize the amount of space. We think that would be far less expensive than some other solutions. And then the computer lab is another one that the furniture that is in there has reached probably the end of its life expectancy, and we would like to do some redesign in that room as well. The last thing that's on that item is the parking lot with a total of $170,000. That includes all of the extras in there. That's the engineer and the parking lot and all of that. That's already included in the budget, as well as the DVD recasing project, which part of it was this year and part of it was next year. I just wanted to give you an idea of some of those big ticket projects that we have on there. Any questions? So any of these projects that we would tackle, we would come back with a full described proposal, and they would be taken out of undesignated revenue and put into the budget. Okay?
Thank you. All right, so at this moment, are we ready to entertain a motion? Do we need 2 resolutions or 1?
It is,
Because we have this one too.
it's one resolution.
Okay.
It's all done. This is the first year that she's done. Last year, you'll remember that we did the millage rate in September, and we did one resolution, and then we did the budget in December. And what the attorney wanted us to do this year was to tackle it earlier. And so basically what you do is we do a public hearing on the millage rate, we do a public hearing on the budget, and then we do a combined resolution to approve both. So that's what you have in your public system. So we only need one resolution and one roll call.
Question?
I have 2 questions. Number 1, by what techniques are we making sure that the community is aware of what's been done, being done?
Well, we post everything that we do on the library's website. We have the budget there all of the time. We keep it up to the minute. It's available in the library in order for people to be able to access it. In terms of the projects, we send out emails. We have a constant contact system. We also have things going into the newsletter so people can see the updates to the building. We're using social media. We have people on staff that are taking care of that and sending out information. And we are about to go into a strategic planning process, which would involve focus groups with the community and getting information from the public about the projects going forward that we should be doing.
The reason I ask is because clearly people don't go to meetings. Not everybody is adept or wants to be adept at using a computer. And unfortunately, the classical means, such as newspapers and so on, are diminishing in use and importance. Evidence is clear, I think, to all of us. So there is a real challenge for all governmental operations, not just for libraries, to communicate effectively with the people whom they represent and who pay for the operation. And so I'm always encouraging techniques for trying to reach out to those people. And whether that's a direct mail kind of thing periodically or some technique that puts it in their hand. Because I often encounter people who say, what are they doing with my money? And part of what you described is, of course, very important and significant and so on, but most people wouldn't understand it because a lot of it's infrastructure costs, and people, that's therefore not visible. I mean, you can walk through the library and they would say, well, show me what's different. What did I agree to spend this money for? Right. And so I think that the challenge is to do that. And I think besides that, you're doing some really creative things. And I made the same comment to people at the school system who are doing some marvelous things, safer with computers. But my neighbors don't know that. They just don't know that. And so if we're going to build a sense of commitment to the maintenance of this gigantic step which we made last year, then we've got to cultivate them. We've got to inform them. We've got to make sure that they know that what they invested in is happening and is well spent, and it's producing some useful kinds of things.
Well, one of the other things that we did add a community relations person to our staff, and one of the ways that that person is integrating us is to get us out into the community more. So, for example, I said we would be at Art in the Village, and we have something to draw the kids in to do, but at that same time, we're using that as a golden opportunity to talk to people about the programs that we've added and the things that we're doing with the building and the technology changes that we're making. We just had a library sign-up card program at the Neiman's Market on Saturday. So we're trying to get out into the community as well, speaking at the Optimist Club and the Rotary, and trying to reach out to people sort of where they are in other ways as well. So,
And of course, we televise all of our meetings.
Right.
So anyone in the public who is tuned into their TV was able to see the presentation.
If they knew when. And one of the great difficulties with ITV is knowing precisely what's going to be on and when it's going to be on,
Sure.
and which event, whether it's this month's or last month's or whatever, is going to be featured at 5 o'clock on Tuesday.
got it.
So that's what I've had a lot of people comment to me about is, gee, when?
Okay.
And that's a toughie, not for every unit of operation that the public funds. It's not just the library.
Well, when our newsletter goes out, it does go out in the Parks and Rec magazine, which
Yes.
goes to 17,000 households. So maybe one of the ways that we can do that is to publish right in there when those meetings are being televised on the page with the library board information as well. So we do a lot of information through that because that's such a cost-effective way for us to reach every household.
I understand that.
So, but maybe what we need, and maybe in the expansion of that going up to 8 pages, there's definitely going to be room for some additional information. So that's another way we can.
Because that's an excellent point, and even though we've discussed it here, that's another way to get that information to the public.
Right.
So
I would point out that, I don't know about you, but the bigger the material is, the less of it I read.
salient and
So the
succinct.
drawback, I mean, it's a conundrum. I mean,
It is.
Hobson's choice almost, because to be part of that is cost efficient. On the other hand, to be part of that means somebody might miss it. And so there are those dilemmas of which we need to be aware and cognizant. So I just want to point out, I mean, these are the realities of doing that. I mean, they could put out a 50-page thing, and I guarantee you that most people will not read that thing from cover to cover.
Right.
All right? So, second question I had was, because the last time I was here and we talked, it had to do with generators. I don't see anything in the list there of thinking about this, both in terms of backup generators for the systems and also for the building, because this, I think a lot of us who worked hard on the millage and so on, and were pleased by the way the community responded, see the library as one of the real central points of the community, ought to be. And one of the times it can be of great service is in times of stress. And one of the times of stress is when we have power outages and things like that. And that's, I mean, we talked about that before.
And actually, we have begun to discuss that.
Good.
It has something to do partly with our power lines coming into the
Well, I
building.
understand. You have two different sources.
We have, yes, but we are discussing that, and we do think that it's a priority.
We did look at the estimate. The town hall just did one in Penn Township Hall And theirs was between $50,000 and $70,000. And so in making an investment that large, we are wanting to make sure we make the right investment. We don't want to buy something too small. We don't want to buy something too big. We want to make sure it's just the right size.
Oh, I understand.
So we are definitely, I will make sure that goes to the top of the priority list.
Well, it's the kind of thing where you almost have to say, well, we put aside X dollars this year at least, as a goal in order.
Yep.
It's easier to do that than to say a lump sum because that's harder to commit to.
Yes, well aware of that,
Point in time.
pricing things out over a
Yeah.
number of years. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any commentary, any questions before we entertain a motion to approve the 2016 budget? If not, I'll accept such a motion.
I'll make the motion. Do we need to read this whole
Resolution.
resolution?
No.
I will offer this resolution for approval.
Yeah, second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution stating the millage rate and establishing the Clarkson Independence District Library 2016 budget. If there are any other comments, this is the moment. If not, we'll have a roll call vote.
Jan Gaffney,
Yes.
absent Dan Green,
Yes.
Sally Lamb,
Yes.
Allison McFadden Keesling,
Yes.
Marilyn Conlon.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, thank you, and thank everyone for sitting through that relatively long review. Number 2, the approval of the 2016 library closure dates.
Okay.
And those are in the packet.
They are in the packet. If I can get my pages to turn around, sorry about that. Each year, the library board is asked to review and approve the library's closed date calendar. Traditionally, we do this in the fall to allow the dates to be added to the computer system well before the beginning of the year, since the library materials are not due and fines do not accrue on days when the library is closed. This year, it is being proposed that the library remain open on Veterans Day. While this is the township closure date, school is in session that day and students will need access to the library resources after school. Since Veterans Day has been a paid holiday for full-time employees, it's being recommended that the full-time staff be granted a floating holiday until Veterans Day this year.
Okay. And the list is in front, and everyone has seen it. Are there any questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the closed date calendar.
I move to approve the 2016 closed date calendar as presented and grant a floating holiday to full-time staff in lieu of the Veterans Day holiday.
Is there a second?
I second.
Did you get that? Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2016 closed date calendar as presented and allow a floating holiday to full-time staff in lieu of Veterans Day. Any comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, number 3, resolution to set the 2016 library board meeting schedule.
This is a month earlier than we usually do this. If I don't get your meetings on the calendar, you won't have a room to meet in. So what I'm going to do is take my little resolution here, and I'm going to go up and put the calendar up on the screen.
That's good.
Should make things a little bit easier, theoretically. Now, we've traditionally been meeting on Monday. I'm just going to throw this out there. The township, well, the city and the school board meet on Monday. The township meets on Tuesday. If we look at the library's calendar, oh dear, come on. Thursday is actually a slower night of the week for us. It would potentially be a good night. I don't know how people feel about Thursday. I'm just throwing it out there.
Thursdays are bad for me.
Thursdays are bad, okay.
Yeah.
It was just a thought.
Practice every Thursday night.
Okay, never mind. It was just thought I'd throw it out there.
Not a bad idea, but okay.
How do we feel about Wednesday?
Wednesdays are a packed calendar day for us. That's a tough
I'll go
one.
back to Monday.
Yeah, maybe. So we want to do, let me hop into January. First, let's see how it goes.
Or did you say Tuesday was the township?
Tuesday, they meet the first and third Tuesday. The city meets the second and fourth Monday. The school board, but it's on a Monday. I'm gonna have to do this from the other calendar. It's not letting me into the staff side of it. I'm gonna have to do this from my little screen.
It would be nice probably to fit in between those somehow.
Well, I feel bad for Independence Television because they record the meetings, and sometimes they have trouble out when we meet on Mondays because there's two other entities that also meet.
Would
So-
Tuesday be better then?
Luckily for me, it doesn't matter. I don't care.
I prefer Monday, but
If we like Monday, I just threw it out there. I have no problem sticking with
But
Monday.
6 o'clock, I'm just going to throw that out, because 5:30 is real hard for me to get here. So I'd like to meet at 6.
And I have trouble with that because every Monday night I have Bible study at 7.
Oh, dear.
I don't live in work.
Compromise is being offered.
So Tuesday is not good?
I actually have dance. We're taking dance.
I prefer not Tuesday.
Pardon?
Tuesdays can be a busy night for me.
Right,
So I
because
prefer not Tuesday.
they have other meetings on Tuesday. And we said Wednesday was not good?
Wednesday, there's a lot going on
You're
in
not
the
going on
library
here.
itself. Yeah, that's a really, well, it looks like maybe the first Wednesday, and there's very little room. The first Wednesday of the month might not be good.
Except for January, right?
And actually, Wednesdays would probably be good for me. I mean, Mondays are fine, but
I mean, Wednesdays, if we found a Wednesday,
Wednesday would be all right.
Wednesdays are booked solid. That's why I was hoping maybe Thursday might be a good evening for people, because Thursdays, nobody wants to meet on Thursday. I mean, nobody, we don't have a
is
lot
there
of
a time period on Thursday that's bad?
yeah, I'm not available until after 8 o'clock on Thursdays.
So every Thursday?
Yes, every
Okay.
Thursday.
So every Thursday is bad.
Well, I don't have choir practice till 7:30, so we can make it Thursday.
Oh, she can't do
She can't do
Thursday.
it, so we're back to Monday.
Okay.
Okay, we're back to Monday. So for, well, I think I've been doing a better job of balancing how much content you have on each meeting. I've been working really hard to make sure the meetings don't run really long.
Done very,
So-
very well.
So I've been trying to think ahead and make sure that we don't stack the calendar to the point where we have a 15-minute meeting and a 2-hour meeting.
Yeah.
So that's been my goal, to keep it to about an hour. I don't know how I'm doing tonight, but.
Well,
Does
and tonight-
changing to 5:45, because that was a good suggestion, does that help either of you that have issues on Mondays? Does that help you, that extra 15 minutes, Allison, does that help?
Would
you?
that 15 minutes be,
Help, yeah.
how would that be for you, Sally?
It would make it tighter, but I can do it. The Bible study meetings are nearby, so.
Okay.
And normally, aside from big meetings like this,
Yeah,
when we're dealing
normally
with the
we're
budget,
done pretty quickly.
Right.
Well, if Monday at 5:45 would work better.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Brilliant idea.
okay.
The thing is, I'm not sure people were going to really like 5:45.
I
It seems like a strange time to me. I can do it, but I don't know how you're going to really like putting that out
Put it on
there.
our calendar, we'll remember to do it.
Well, since
Move to
we
the
don't
public.
have a lot of guests normally.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And if you're watching it on television, you can watch it anytime you
That's
want
right.
to.
and it's also online. so-
And it's online, so
Yeah.
it's really, I believe, a matter of how convenient it is for board members.
Okay, so,
Is 5:45 better for other people, or do people prefer 5:30? And I'm the only one who has troubles getting here?
No, that doesn't, I mean, the 15 minutes one way or the other does not.
Make any
5:40,
difference.
5:30 was okay, 6 o'clock was okay, 5:45
Okay, I thought
was
other people
fine.
having trouble with 5:30 too. I guess I was the only one who was having trouble.
Well, you're the working.
Well, right.
okay, so it sounds like we want to go with 5:45. In January, the only Monday that's open is the 4th, but January we like to have an early meeting anyway because you elect officers, so you can
Oh, right.
elect officers right out of the gate. So unless there's an objection, I would recommend the 4th.
Thanks, right?
So it's Mondays at 5:45.
At 5:45,
correct?
yep. Okay, and then in February, see, all the Monday nights are open in February, except for the third one. The accountant prefers us to meet a little bit later in the month, because when it comes time for her to do the quarterly calculations, she wants a couple of weeks to get them prepped. So she would prefer if we picked the third or fourth Monday.
The third, the fourth Monday won't work for me.
Okay, so
And the third Monday's busy.
the third Monday is busy on
So-
this one. So it's looking like
February, but she's not doing quarterlies in February.
not in February. So how about the 8th, February 8th? All right. We get a little bit looser after we get past.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go over the whole thing before you do your resolution so we can. All right.
So isn't it April she's doing a quarterly?
Yeah, because the first quarter ends on March 30th.
Okay.
Yep.
So we don't have a problem the first 3 months.
Nope. So we could do the open Mondays in March are the 14th and the 28th.
14?
14th, because it's closer to when we just met.
Yeah.
The other one seems to have
14.
We're kind of working our way towards later in the month to satisfy the accountant.
That's right.
So March 14th.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, in April. Apparently we're going to be doing the middle of the month because it seems the third Monday there's already something.
Now, when
scheduled.
is Easter?
Easter is the March. Wait, we just approved that calendar. I have it right here. Hold on.
Is it March this year?
It is. Yeah,
Where was
according
our-
to the close date calendar that you just approved,
Good point.
Easter is, oh yeah, March 25th, 26th, and 27th.
Wow, that's early.
It is early. So the 11th or the 25th of April.
Now,
Yes, it is.
April is when she'd like a later one.
It is when she would like a later
Yeah.
one.
25th? So would that be
Now
better?
is the 25th the fourth Monday?
Yeah.
And that's not good for you,
No,
right?
just that one month.
Oh, just that one?
No, I'm
month.
good.
All right, how does
I'm
the 25th of April sound
That's
then
fine.
for our
Yeah.
auditor?
Thank you, Beth. Appreciate it.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what I'm concerned about? They haven't set the book sale yet. I think that's when it is. I know the book sale is the last week in April. We won't have a room. I think we're stuck with the 11th. Does the 11th work for people?
That's
Are you
fine.
sure?
I'm just looking at this and thinking the book sale is going to end up in that spot, and I'm just going to have to come back to you and ask you to.
Good to do it now.
Yeah.
But you can do it later, too.
There are no tables in the building during the book
During the
sale.
book sale.
There's no space, there's no tables.
Okay, so we're looking at April 11th.
Yeah.
then.
So I have January 4th, February 8th, March 14th, April 11th.
Right.
April 11th or May?
April.
April.
Now we're up to May.
Okay.
If you wanted to stick with the same pattern, I would suggest the 9th. But I also have the 23rd or the 30th, it would appear.
Okay, May 9th?
When's the holiday? May.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, I have that as well.
May,
Must be the 30th.
May 30th, we'd be in close
May
Monday.
30th might be closed, yeah, I don't have that
So
on the
May
calendar
9th
yet.
is probably better.
19th anniversary.
Or the 23rd. so
Or the
let's go-
23rd? Do you want to go later? Is that a better time to go
No,
later?
well, that's not a,
Now that we've got the
Audit.
pattern of doing the second week, maybe we should try and stick with that
Yeah.
second week.
Thanks.
That'll help everybody remember.
okay, June.
Mhm. Um, 13th would be the pattern.
Okay.
School doesn't let out until the 15th. So, 13th?
13, so June 13th?
Yep,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
my husband's birthday.
July 11th?
You don't want it on the 4th?
No, Lily closed that day. I'll load that into the calendar in the morning. Now I have, it would fall on August 8th, but I'm going to recommend the 15th because I have a feeling that the 8th will be the night of the summer reading carnival. They don't have it loaded in here yet, but I think that's the week they're going to want.
And that would be, the auditor would prefer later.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the 15th?
We got 15th, yeah.
Except that's not a quarterly review, because
No.
July will be the quarterly review.
Yeah.
because it'll
Well,
not-
it doesn't go to the end of July? January, February, March?
No, it would be in July. It would be the
April,
end of
May,
June.
okay, June.
It would be, should bring forward in. So in September, the second week would be, the Labor Day is the 3rd, 4th and 5th, so the 12th of September.
Sure.
October 10th.
Is that going to be late enough for the,
We could do the 17th.
because the 10th is really, that really cuts short
It is close,
her
isn't
her
it?
third quarter.
You want to do the 17th? Is that
Okay.
okay for everybody?
Sure.
All right, let's do the 17th. Thank you for catching that.
Not a problem.
November, we have to look out for Thanksgiving.
Which is the
23rd.
24th and 25th. So the second week would be the 8th, the third week would be the 15th. Oh, I'm sorry, 7th and the 14th, sorry about that. 14th over a day.
With the teens?
14th,
Just
14th?
because we
we've been staying in the teens pretty
Staying
much.
in the teens,
Yeah.
okay. And then December,
well, you've also got election in there, that month too.
yeah. We're not on board. Yay, yay. Where's my rejoicing? December 12th?
Sure.
Okay. So as I have it recorded, it would be Monday, all at 5:45, Monday, January 4th, February 8th, March 14th, April 11th, May 9th, June 13th, July 11th, August 15th, September 12th, October 17th, November 14th, and December 12th.
When's our December meeting this year?
Wait, I have that right here.
Thank you.
The 14th, December 14th.
I will be gone.
Okay.
All right. Do we have a motion?
So moved to approve the meeting calendar as we just prepared
As
it.
selected?
I'm trying to think of the right word.
Presented.
I'll second that, Madam.
Okay, do we need a roll call vote?
We do indeed. Jan Gaffney,
Yes.
Dan Green,
Yes.
Sally Lamb,
Yes.
Allison McFadden Kiesling.
Yes.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I will get that posted.
Thank you. Now for the fun part of the evening, when we have a proclamation.
Boy Scout Ryan Snyder has completed a project to build a puppet stage and board book shelving for the library's children's department. This project will earn Ryan the award of Eagle Scout, and the library board will approve a proclamation honoring Ryan's service to the library and recognizing this award. It was in your packet, and thank you, Jan Gaffney, for making this lovely suggestion.
You're welcome. I just thought it was really nice to, it was a really cool project that he did, and I thought that we should recognize that publicly.
And the community benefits,
Absolutely.
which is always, almost always the case with Eagle Scout projects. But it's nice that it's so close to home here. All right. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we have a proclamation to Ryan Snyder as presented for his work for his Eagle Scout achievement. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Excellent. Now I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any naysayers? The meeting is adjourned at 6:47.